Ladies and gentlemen, we interrupt your regularly scheduled programming to bring you this special bulletin. Whenever anyone wants to push a particular narrative, for whatever reason, they have to push it. Ignoring any contradictory evidence, any contradictory discussion, it must be pushed and pushed and pushed, no matter what. And what's even better is when you get your cronies, the usual suspects, joining in on the act to help you push said narrative. And that looks like that's to be the case in this article coming from The Guardian. Yet one more bastion of journalistic integrity. Black Myth Wukong, the summer's most exciting and most controversial video game. Now, what on earth could you think they could be talking about? What was so controversial about this video game that hasn't already been shot down for being false? Well, let's see what they have to say about it. This beautiful looking action-based game is based on Journey to the West, a great Japanese novel, but its own journey to release has hit a bump in the road. You want to know what that bump in the road, what this little controversy has caused? It's caused the game to shoot up to the #1 spot in pre-orders. This is going to be Hogwarts Legacy all over again. These so-called journalists come out and put out a report that, come to find out, is based on a false, misleading translation. Lost in translation much? Proven. And yet they continue with this narrative. However, good old Guardian came out and they actually had a few things to say on it. Tom Regan. We're going to go with Regan. Reagan would be REA. Moving on. They had a few things to say, nice to say, although these were backhanded compliments with a little bit of digs in here and there, one of which smartphone games are inordinately popular in China, but console game developers are still few and far between. So maybe insinuating that the game might not be all that great anyway? After playing Wukong for an hour and a half, in London hotel suite watched nervously by several game science employees, I can confirm that, somewhat miraculously. Well, why miraculously? The trailers look fantastic, the gameplay looks fantastic. Why would you consider it miraculously? Are you trying to put some sort of stink on a Chinese development company? Game dev? Simply because they're Chinese? I mean, we all have our opinions on Tencent and the others with the non-stop, what are they? The mobile games that just churn out and churn out and churn out. So, you know what? You can have your opinion on that stuff. That's fine. Stunning Chinese mythological twist on Dark Souls delivers on that showy trailer, marrying fluid feeling combat with reflex testing difficulty and the expensive filmic sheen of something like God of War. So we have compliments. So where does the problem come into play? Oh, we have a quote here. Here's a quote from one of the game's science co-founders. We are under great pressure. Are you sure you're translating this right, Guardian? Are you sure? Introduced only as Ted via a translator. Okay, well, maybe someone with a little bit of knowledge was translating this properly. This is the first time we have worked on a PC and console game when we are also a new studio. Positive, positive. Go for it. Show us what you got. So we would really like to thank how tolerant the players in the market is towards us. You're going to make a lot of money on this game. It's #1 on Steam for pre-orders. Their excitement encourages us. However, the thinking of Chinese people tends to be that we look at the risks, and therefore, when we are faced with such great encouragement, the best thing we can do is try our best to satisfy the expectations of the players and to communicate with players in a very honest way. Communicate with players. The journalist continues, I am unfortunately met with very little honest communication. When I bring up a report that's been proven to be based on a false translation, which related alleged sexist comments based on a false translation from multiple developers at Game Science. Did I mention this was based on a false translation that has yet to be redacted by IGN, and now The Guardian is just going to dogpile right on top of it. Follow suit, just like all the usual suspects do. As well as those in leadership roles, I present Ted with the opportunity to address the claims of misogynistic posts and whether he feels that they represent Game Science's values. Now, why on earth, if you are going in to playtest a game, would you bring up nonsense like that and expect them to respond to you with anything other than No comment. Huh. Instead, I am shut down, rightfully so, from their UK PR representative, and then, after a long wait, given a longer statement of no comment via Ted's translator. I am then told the Game Science's US PR agency will follow up later with a prepared statement only to be sent the following, quote, Game Science is focused on the demo at this time and will only answer questions related to the gameplay, because heaven forbid you should force a game dev to answer questions about anything other than what you're there to do. How interesting. Why would you continuously be trying to get a statement on allegations based on a incorrect translation? But hey, journalists got to justify their measly existence. The same thing happened to an IGN reporter at the demo in LA last month. Again, rightfully so. I did a video on that wonderful piece of work. It is disappointing that Game Science is opting to invite journalists to speak to them and play the game and talk about the game, but refusing to answer their questions. Well, you're not asking questions about the game. They're inviting you there as a video game journalist for a video game website to talk about their video game, not behind the scenes PR, politics, nonsense, and accusations. Again, let me say this one more time for the people in the back. Based on a mistranslation, proven mistranslation? Proven miss, we'll go with that. And yet, journalistic integrity thrown out the window. I have to get my story, got to get my story, and yet you're invited there to play the game, to talk about the game, to ask questions about the game, but you continuously persist simply because you forget your job, or maybe you're just trying to get a foot in the door to go into some other aspect of journalism, and you think you're going to use video games as your stepping stone. Gamers are pretty damn tired of that. You want to do political journalistic? You want to do investigative journalism? Go somewhere else to do it. We want to know what about the game, and only about the game, not what you think about the current economy and the cost of an Xbox console. We want to hear about Black Myth Wukong, not what the response is from the developer is for accusations based on a mistranslation. Yeah, I know I'm probably getting tired of hearing that. Let's see. Perhaps there is no reassurance as well. Did I skip anything? It is disappointing that Game Science is opting to invite... Oh, yeah, I did read this. Opting to invite journalists to speak to them and play the game, but refusing to answer their questions. Ask questions about the game, and I'm sure they'll answer them all. Perhaps there is no reassurance to offer. A generous reading of the situation would be that this inexperienced studio is petrified of saying the wrong thing. I wouldn't want to say anything to journalists like you, because anything and everything you say to journalists of this caliber can and will be used out of context against you. It's been proven over and over again, and they simply do not care. Yet in failing to say, in failing to say anything at all, Game Science is also failing to distance itself and its games from the multiple crude, disparaging, and misogynistic comments that were mistranslated, attributed to its employees and leadership. Proven to be mistranslated. Oh no, making crude jokes, you filthy, filthy man, you. Journey to the West, of course, is no stranger to the world of video games. From Ninja Theory's 2010, Alexander Garland penned and Andy Serkis starring Xbox 360 adaptation enslaved Odyssey to the West, to the late Akira Toriyama's world-conquering Dragon Ball. Its world of myth and monkeys lends itself perfectly to gaming. Black Myth Wukong, stunning visuals. I might have to buy this game when it comes out and play it. Yeah, I think I might do that. Black Myth Wukong's stunning visuals, cinematic beauty, and refreshing sense of speed could well make it the best playable adaptation of the fable to date. But the unreserved excitement I would otherwise feel about it is being trampled by the elephant in the room. Alyssa Mercante? Is that who you're talking about? Dear Tom, stop basing your nonsense, stop basing your questions on false, misleading, incorrect translations. And maybe, just maybe, you might gain a little bit more credibility back. But hey, what can you expect from rags like The Guardian, who are simply trying to justify their existence, begging for money? But anyway, let me know what you think in the comments section down below. Leave a like, leave a dislike, do all those nifty little things that YouTube is begging you to do. Are you looking forward to Black Myth Wukong? There's a lot of people out there have pre-ordered already. I'm really considering it. Bye-bye.